Hello and welcome to my guitar restoration video. So let me just talk about what this guitar is, and then I'll walk through a lot of the steps, pictures I took along the way, the things that I did, the things I ran into, and we'll go through this. So what I have here is a Framus Caravelle 5117T. 1967 is what I believe the year is, based on the pickups. 68 they changed their pickups. So the problem with this guitar, and my dad bought this guitar a long time ago, and it had a neck that was it was pretty much unplayable. There was a lot of fret buzz issues. The neck had a twist in it. So it just was not a good neck. And so for many years now, it was a wall hanger. And I've had it back there on that wall where I now have the dive bar bass that I built in my last video. I got that hanging up in that spot now. I guess I'm gonna have to hunt down a good wall hanger decorative guitar to put up there, since this one is now in playable condition. So other issues that it had besides the neck was the biggest thing, and that's the reason that it never got played, it never got worked on. And the thing about the neck, the reason we never fixed it was because they have this really unique routed neck joint, neck cavity, that's got some angles to it. It's like a parabola shape. There's a math term for you, geometry. So it was just so weird that we were never brave enough to try it, but now I am. You know, beyond that, the electronics, I wasn't sure what they were going to be like. The tone knobs did not move. They were both frozen. So I had to get, pump some cleaner into these pots. And I was able to, just use all the original electronics. So that was kind of cool. It's got a tremolo. It's got a string mute on the bridge, which is kind of interesting and unique. This was kind of like their own Bigsby type of setup that Framus had. Framus is a German company. I got a picture of the label inside. It says, built in the heart of Bavaria. But yeah, it's a German-made guitar. Got new tuners. That's really the only new hardware that I put on it. And then obviously the neck, all brand new neck. I did, and I'll go through this in the video, I changed, because this was like a Gibson copy neck. This was a knockoff. I don't even think I paid $60. And I trimmed that up to make it a little more like the original Framus shape, and so that it doesn't look like a Gibson, because I didn't want that. It's not a Gibson. Steel wool to the pickups and the hardware, cleaned them all up, cleaned the pots, got those moving, cleaned the switch, got that good. Most of the work, I put a fresh coat of nitro finish on it to really clean it up and seal it. It had a lot of cracking going on, and you can still see some of that checking through the finish, which is cool. But really just kind of going over it, cleaning it up, and getting this new neck on here and getting the neck set. So I'll go through the steps, and then I'll give you a little shot of what it sounds like.
Okay, starting from the beginning, a little before picture with the original neck on there. You can kind of see the cracks in the finish. There were some scratches, corrosion on the hardware. The switch is missing a knob. Got a shot of the back here. It's got a cool flame on there, so I wanted to make sure we got to see that. Here's the label on the inside, built in the heart of Bavaria, Framus, made in Germany. The model is a little hard to read, but it does say 5/117T. All right, here I'm starting to get the hardware taken off of it. So So obviously, see how old, corroded, these are. So try clean those up with some steel wool, along with, the other hardware. That's, pretty aged, definitely showing its age. Clean that up. Got the new tuners over there. These pots, I'm hoping I can clean them with some electronic cleaner, and they'll be good. The volume knobs both turn, but neither tone knob turns, so we'll see. So now I got the pickups off of there. Now I'm going to get ready to clean those, going to get ready to clean the pots. That center hole is the only access for the electronics. I mean, I guess the F-holes too, but you would have to fish the electronics through that center hole if I were to need to change the pots or the switch. Luckily, I didn't need to do that. Here's a little side-by-side of the neck pickup before steel wool, the bridge pickup after steel wool, and there they both are cleaned up. All right, took a lot of cleaner. But these both turn now. And switch, cleaned up, switch is smooth. It's nice. Just gonna do a little once over with some 2000 grit sandpaper, real, super fine. Just to give my new finish a little something to stick to and take any gunk or anything off there. First coat of finish I did with a brush. It wasn't the most even thing I've ever done. I'm not that great at finishing, so I decided I would just spray on future coats. Alright, let's take a look at the neck. So this is side by side with the old neck. The new neck is just a Gibson copy, rosewood fretboard, unfinished. The one thing that I kind of regret in this project is that I just clear coated the back of this neck, and I kind of wish I had stained it in something, either something yellow or something dark that I could have helped match it to the guitar body a little better. So here's a look at that neck joint cutout. It's just, an odd parabolic shape. There's some downward angles happening here that you can't really see in this picture. And it's not a one-piece neck. It's like wafer board. And it looks like, I think the truss rod got over tightened and pulled away and broke off down there at the bottom. What I found is that it basically was a bolt-on style neck routed to this shape. So I got a bolt-on style neck that I'm going to slowly shape up for that neck joint. Managed to get it pretty good. I cut a little deeper on the low string side than on the high string side, but just a hair. I mean, I don't even think it's a 1/16 of an inch, so just a small shim's gonna fix that. And then I traced out the shape of the original headstock, and I trimmed that Gibson shape off the top because I don't want it to look like a Gibson from afar, because it isn't. Transferred that middle decorative part that was brass, hit it with some chrome. I did order a Framus headstock decal, and here's all of the pieces ready to start reassembling it. Here are the tuners going in, and unfortunately that decorative piece was a little wider than the tuners allowed for it to be clean, real clean with that more narrower headstock, but it is what it is. Still looks pretty good. And then here is the neck cut out, holes drilled, and I started to set the neck. And I had some questions over whether I had the angle just right. I added some shims, I took some shims away. Eventually took it back down to what it was, a small shim on the low E side, and it was actually perfect. So my cutout was actually really good. I just had to figure it out because I was running into the pickups were a little high, and the nut was a problem, which I'll get to. You can see I added a cover on that switch, make that look better. Obviously I didn't even need to tape that hole, so now I have lines for the finish, whatever. I got the pick guard back on. Hit the fretboard with some lemon oil just to seal it and condition it. As far as strings, I'm just going to go with some pure nickel strings for that vintage effect. So here was a problematic thing that I should have been on earlier, but that's my inexperience showing. So this nut was way too high. So it's like 1/8 of an inch between the bottom of the E string and the fretboard, which is really high. Recommended height is like 1/32. So basically I wanted to take this down a whole 1/16 of an inch just for comparison, this is on my acoustic guitar, and you can see that it's a little less than 2/30 seconds, so a little less than 1/16 of an inch between the fretboard and the E string. So I popped that off there, sanded it down, got it where it needs to be, way better, and you can kind of see it's tiny, but you can see here that it's about 2/30 or 1/32 between the fretboard and the bottom of that E string. So we got it to where it needed to be. This string mute is something that I took off of this several years ago because I thought it was pointless, and it still kind of is, but I don't know, it's kind of cool, it's unique, so I put it back on there. The pickups, I lowered the pickups a little bit as I put the neck on, and I don't know if I just don't have the neck's not quite as thick as the old one was, so it doesn't set, it didn't sit up quite as high, but as I was trying to set it up a little bit, the pickups ran into the strings as I was trying to get the action as low as possible. I discovered that everything gets fret buzz at the 12th fret. Now it doesn't get anything higher than that. So the 13th is obviously sitting a little too high. So I'm gonna file a little bit on everything 13 and up, just because that'll make sure I'm not running into any problems there. Here's just a shot of how I propped the strings up when I filed the frets, because I had taken the strings on and off several times and I wasn't going to do it again. But got those frets filed and in good shape. And here you can see that shim that I had to put under the low E side, real thin, and just kept everything nice and flat. And there's a look at it with the strings on, all complete. So at this point, I'll give you a little hit of what it sounds like. So I timed this out pretty good and got it done just a few days before I had a band gig. One of the guitar players said he would be willing to play it on a few tunes. We're going to send you out with some clips of it playing live. Thanks for watching.